Aphoristic appendage to On Truthtelling. 1 to 50. 1. Every breath is a salute to life. 2. Life is one big exclamation with little in the way of explanation. 3. Poverty goes featureless, even when recognized. 4. The big house you have will not halt the decay of your flesh, maintaining it might hasten it, however. 5. Oftentimes, the only difference between the winner and the loser is the will of the former to go further. 6. Life is the reward and punishment for having been born. 7. Never was anything more furtive than wrong never tampered with. 8. You don't blame a good plow horse for wearing out the traces. 9. Disappointment hammers away at determination. 10. Though a river does mighty work, it follows the path of least resistance. 11. Womanhood, a great river running through the course of my life in which, though I've been permitted to splash about on occasion, I've been forbidden to bathe or slake my thirst. 12. One chooses one's philosophy like one chooses a good pair of shoes, for comfort and fit. 13. Few must there be who get what they want out of life and, very few, indeed, who get more. 14. To be a good creator type is to create a type. 15. Human greatness is human pride and human perversity that, despite everything that can be said against it, ends up having more said for it. 16. The scholarly ideal is to be an excellent cartographer of other people's thoughts. 17. What do we go to the theater or cinema for if not to see what we normally don't see, that is, people undressing themselves, spiritually and psychologically speaking? 18. Sometimes I feel like I go about in life like a box of flesh with eye slits. 19. In politics, both hypocrisy and hyperbole are the order of the day. 20. In wartime, hypocrisy and hyperbole not only are the order of the day but raised to the status of virtues. 21. If youth were all it's cracked up to be, one would surely loathe one's later years. 22. If wisdom were all it's cracked up to be, one would surely loathe fools. 23. The madman's talking to himself was the only thing that kept him sane. 24. Professional philosophers no more want falsehood done away with than doctor's illness or policeman crime. 25. Reasoning about complicated matters in philosophy is always at fault because it always leaves out some complication. 26. Politics has the same relation to truth that a hammer has to a nail driven into hard wood. 27. We are all punished with a death for all the sins that weren't discovered. 28. Terrorism is the witchcraft and black magic of the 21st century. It's seen everywhere even when it's not seen. 29. To call somebody or something the worst in international affairs is always an excuse to do the worst. 30. Old age, being in the wrong for having lived too long. 31. Old folks' home, the place where they keep dead people alive. 32. When all is said and done, it may very well be that the best truth is a good lie. 33. There are always people willing to ride on or ride out a prejudice, particularly when it has their best interests at heart. 34. Anything can be objectified and therefore objected to. 35. The miracle keeps repeating itself and so becomes mundane. 36. Man and woman, the victim and victimizer of each other. 37. So many deaths over a life should reconcile us to it. 38. Living one's life at the best boils down to having a choice how to suffer. 39. Much of what we now call evil was at one time done in the name of good. Much of what is now done in the name of good will one day be called evil. 40. You have to live with things every single day until death takes all away. 41. Better silence than a cheerful conventional greeting from the beloved who no longer loves you. 42. Today's truth is tomorrow's prejudice. 43. What starts off as a powerful argument ends up merely as the power of those who no longer feel a need or reason to argue. 44. A conscientious writer is one who doesn't cheat or, if he does, keeps it to a minimum. 45. All who are aging are more or less experts at losing while living on. 46. Injustice begins where justice is assumed to be absolutely known and, on this basis, justifying every means by which to establish its rule. 47. There is both a collective intelligence and a collective stupidity that far surpass anything any individual is capable of. 48. Even the simplest things are complicated beyond measure. A thought for those who would wish to uncomplicate everything. 49. Nothing is more common than combining self-interest with a sense of moral superiority. 50. The most common and yet most wrong-headed thing in the world is a prejudice which doesn't recognize itself as such.